You are welcome to yet another intriguing class in government. In today's lesson, I will be teaching you Nigeria and the world, the interdependence among nations, which is foreign policy. I will be exposing you to the Nigeria's foreign policy and the various administrations with their foreign policies. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss the interdependence of nations, explain the need for interactions, and also state the various advantages and disadvantages of interactions among nations of the world. Now let's look at the meaning of interdependence. Interdependence among nations is all about the interrelationship that exists among the various nations of the world, because no nation can exist on its own. No nation can exist in isolation. No country in the world is an island. So nations of the world interact and derive mutual benefits from one another. This is because the natural resources of the world are not evenly distributed. So they interact and derive mutual benefits from one another. The question is, does Nigeria as a country interact with other nations of the world? The answer is emphatic yes. Nigeria indeed interacts with nations of the world politically, economically, socially, and culturally. So Nigeria belongs to various and many international, regional, or sub-regional organizations, like international organizations like UNO, organization within Africa like AU, ECOWAS, and even OPEC. So, what are the various needs for interactions? Why do Nigeria interact? Why do countries interact? They interact for three basic reasons. One is political reason. Two is economic reasons. While the third one is socio-cultural reason. The political reason for interaction implies that states and countries interact with each other through the formation of different organizations like UNO and AU. And this gives room for a peaceful and secured world because members of these organizations agree to abide with the principles governing the organizations. While economic reasons for interaction implies that nations derive mutual benefit from each other because the resources of the world are not evenly distributed. So they interact to derive benefit from each other. Socio-cultural reasons for interaction is based on the promotion of love and friendship among nations and eliminates conflicts. Nations interact through sports, for example, football. They also interact in the area of culture and even through musical concerts. What are the advantages of interactions among nations of the world? One, for a peaceful and secured world. Another one is to maintain closer relationship, for economic advancement, removal of interference, and also for foreign aids. These are the various advantages for interactions. Of course, anything that has advantages definitely has disadvantages. The various disadvantages of interaction include cultural/social problems. Some countries tend to export promiscuity and the rest. Then interference of states, neo-colonialism, and so on. Now let's look at the meaning of foreign policy. Foreign policy is all about the decisions that countries take to pursue her interests within the global system. Those actions taken by countries to promote her interests within a global system. What is Nigeria foreign policy? The Nigeria foreign policy entails the totality of Nigeria's interaction within the global system. It's all about the whole interactions of Nigeria within the global system. That is Nigeria's foreign policy. There have been various phases of Nigeria's foreign policy since independence, and it includes the Bandeau Era, Gowan Era, Murtala Mohammed / Obasanjo Era, and even the era of the Second Republic, otherwise known as the Shagari Era, between 1979 to 83. Now, we also have the Buhari / Idi Era, the Babangida Era, the Abacha Era, and then Abubakar Era. That was between 1998 to 1999. Now let's take these phases one after the other. First, by looking at the Bandeau Era. The Bandeau Era witnessed the formation of OAU. Again, it broke diplomatic ties with France for testing atomic bomb in Sahara Desert. The era also pushed for the colonization process of Africa and frowns at the apartheid system practiced in South Africa. Now let's look at the Gowan Era. The Gowan Era witnessed the Nigeria Civil War, and weapons were gotten from the eastern parts of the world. So Nigeria's foreign policy shifted from the west to the east. However, this administration played a crucial role in the establishment and formation of ECOWAS. Then let's look at the Murtala / Obasanjo Era. The era pushed for the decolonization of African states and supported the Agostinho Neto's movement for the liberation of Angola. This era also established Operation Feed the Nation, which is OFN, in order to see to the alleviation of the plight of Nigerians in terms of agriculture and provision of food. Again, let's look at the Shagari Era. This era was the Second Republic. It supported the independence of Zimbabwe, though the era has been criticized for trying to please the colonial masters. Now, let's look at the Buhari / Idi Era. This era expelled all the West African countries living illegally in Nigeria. Therefore, relations with Britain was badly affected during the Buhari regime. This regime was very brutal and established war against indiscipline. Now let's look at the Babangida Era. The era introduced economic diplomacy into Nigeria's foreign policy. Nigeria became very active in the area of conflict resolution and peacekeeping. Now, this administration led to the establishment of ECOWAS Monitoring Group, ECOMOG. And let's look at the Shonikan / Abacha regime. The Shonikan / Abacha era helped in restoring peace in Liberia. The Abacha era has been accused of human rights abuse, and as a result, Nigeria was suspended from the Commonwealth, which is organization of countries colonized by Britain. Now, the Abubakar era tried to reconcile Nigeria back to the various countries that have expelled Nigeria due to the human rights abuse leveled against the Abacha regime. The Abubakar administration handed power over to an elected civilian. And let's look at factors that can affect Nigeria's foreign policy. One of them is human resources or size, economic resources, previous commitments of the government, ideological disposition, ministry strengths, national or domestic interests, among others. In conclusion, Nigeria interacts with other nations of the world politically, economically, and socio-culturally. It is this interaction among nations that constitutes the making of Committee of Nations, thereby countries deriving mutual benefits from each other. For your assignment, explain Nigeria's foreign policy, the meaning, Nigeria foreign policy since independence, examine Nigeria foreign policy under Babangida's regime, and also discuss the achievements made by Murtala/Obasanjo in Nigeria's foreign policy. Do this assignment until we meet in our next class. Goodbye.